Kim Kardashian West. From reality superstar to the woman with the president's ear. She surprised a lot of people when she turned up in the Oval Office to plead the case of Alice Marie Johnson, the grandmother and first-time nonviolent drug offender who was serving a life term in prison. Well, 1 week later, Johnson was freed after spending 21 years behind bars. And just a little while ago, Kim Kardashian West sat down with our very own Van Jones to talk about the cause that brought them together, about her husband Kanye West, and about what happened when she broke the news to Alice Johnson.
First of all, congratulations on a big win, but also just thank you, thank you, thank you.
Thank you.
Second of all, how did it feel to make the phone call to let Miss Alice Johnson know that it was over, she was coming home?
Well, I was on set of a photo shoot in New York, and once I got the call from the president on my cell phone, and I knew it was happening, and it was 100% happening, and a press release was written, and it was about to go out. So I called her, and I let her know it's 100% happening. The paperwork is signed.
The ink is on the paper.
Yeah. Let's get Alice on the phone. And I had assumed that the attorneys had already told her.
Right.
And then Alice gets on the phone. We call her. She was paged to come to the phone.
Inside the prison.
Inside the prison. She gets on the phone, and I think she thought it was a routine phone call with her attorneys, and she was surprised and excited that I was on the phone. And then I was a little bit shocked because she was very calm, and
right.
I had assumed she knew. So I just was like, wait, she doesn't know? And Alice was like, no, what? And I was like, you're going home. Like, I can like cry thinking about it. Hearing her scream was like, I know I'm going to cry so much when I see her, but just to know that like we changed one person's life, you know, is like, we cried maybe on the phone for like 3 minutes straight. Like everyone was just crying, and then I have to get it together.
That's all right. I understand. It's emotional. I mean, people understand.
Because I think people might think like, oh, Kim went to the White House, had this conversation, it was done, and that's it. I saw this 7 months ago, and I have been daily phone calls with the White House. Maybe a dozen emails a day trying to get letter from the warden. I mean, I have to give credit to where Alice's whole team has been working on this for years. So, I mean, I did step in late in the game, so I don't want to take away from what, I mean, you've been working on this for 3 years.
Yeah, sure.
Everyone has brought attention to this case, and I just happened to see it on Twitter. So I do want to give credit where credit is due to everyone that's for so long for her.
I think a lot of people think you know, it's just an easy thing to get done. To your point, her family's been fighting for a long time.
Yeah, I mean, it was a really good team. I reached out to Ivanka, and how it all happened was I reached out to Ivanka and I said, you know, I know that you have compassion for women like this, and I explained to her her story, and she immediately got it, and she immediately felt it, and she connected me with her husband, Jared Kushner, and he has really been amazing. I mean, he listened to her story, would always ask for more details and more paperwork and letters, and he was like on top of it.
What was it about this case that just grabbed you?
Well, I do think there's something to, I had happened to be on Twitter at that exact moment and saw that come across my feed, that one of the people that I follow posted a story on her, and I watched it, and I just really felt for her, because I felt like she's a good person. You can see that in her, that she lost her longtime job, got a divorce, her son died, just all of her, everything was going so bad for her, and she got desperate, and she had 4 other, you know, babies that she had to take care of, and she was desperate, and she made choices that I feel like, honestly, you know, maybe not to that extreme, but when you're in a desperate situation, you'll do whatever you have to do to take care of your kids. And I know that I would do anything for my kids. And so I just felt this connection to her, like instantly, that I wanted to help her.
I mean, you have such a huge platform. You got Ivanka Trump's phone number. I mean, it must have felt like, hey, listen, I've got to do something. But the meeting with President Trump, now that's a whole other level.
Yeah.
How did that happen?
Well, when I initially called Ivanka, I said I would love a meeting with your dad. I said that from the start. And then that took about 6 or 7 months to get. And so once we got our, the file really strong, we were able to plan a meeting, and it happened to be on Alice's birthday, and that was the date they picked. And so I was like, okay, this is just all aligned. The stars are all in our favor today. I just feel that this is the right day to do it. And
so you go in.
We go in.
That's crazy. You got to know,
Yeah.
for normal people, Kim Kardashian going into the Trump White House,
The West Wing,
the Oval Office.
Yeah, I have to say, I never get starstruck. I was starstruck over the Oval Office.
Yeah.
Like, that Oval Office is so powerful. I literally had to take a second and take it all in, and just inside.
This is not a movie set.
Yeah, like, it really felt powerful and felt like you can just feel the history in there. And I don't know, I just took a second to take it all in. And then we talked about it. So
you've been, tough on Trump at times. I mean,
Yeah.
you're not a Republican.
Yeah.
How do you make sense of that? In other words, you guys don't agree politically. How did you handle that?
Well, I think for me, I was very focused. I knew that if I have this meeting, I can't go in there and talk about all the policies that I don't agree with. And I've always had just a very open dialogue with Jared about how I felt, and have been even so honest to say, look, Trump is the last person I thought that would have done this, but he did, and he pulled through. And so when I got the meeting, I knew there was going to be tons of backlash. I knew people wouldn't understand it. And at that point, I had to make the decision that this was bigger than me, so I'm worried about my brand. It's like, and a woman's been in jail for 22 years almost. That just, to me, it wasn't even a question. Like, I would have taken the backlash no matter what the outcome would have been, just to try for her. And I'm glad it worked out, obviously.
It's just really amazing to hear you say that. I mean, you didn't know her. Why did you feel that this was worth taking that kind of risk? A lot of celebrities to this day are scared to go and be in a picture with Donald Trump. A lot of athletes won't even go in the building. Why did you make a different choice?
And I do still respect their choice. I mean, everyone can do what they want to do. I never judge other people. And I do think sometimes situations are different. But I just am focused. And I could separate my feelings on certain policies. To me, it wasn't about policies. It was about, I can change someone's life. And if I have the opportunity to do that, like, it just wasn't even a question for me.
So just indulge me for a second. What did he say? What did you say? I mean, Did he get up? Did he shake your hand? Did he hug you? Did you salute? I mean, give me something that I can work with.
I walk in, and, I had met him before he was the president a few times. So it was a hug, and sat down, and he was like, okay, so what's going on? Well, why are we here? He started the meeting. I did take a second to say, like, wait a minute, we're in the Oval Office. This is crazy.
Right.
Like, this is crazy. I did take that minute to say that. And then he said, well, what are we here for? And I said, well, I really want to know. I'm here because I really want to know, why did you kick Chloe off The Apprentice? It was a laugh, and it was funny, and then we got into business. And, he felt it. He was compassionate. He was sympathetic to her. He said, this is a really long time that she's been in here. Like, this just isn't fair. He knew that this is the right thing to do. And he said that from the start, after he had heard her whole story and situation, and he knew it was the right thing to do. And he said that, and he was really honest with it, and he wanted to make it happen. So
you said President Trump actually called you.
Yes.
So you're sitting there, the phone rings, and what does it come up? It says Donald Trump, or what happened?
No, it says unknown. And so I remember I was on the phone with my husband and I said, wait, babe, I got to call you back. And it was a secretary on the line that said she had the president on the phone. And I knew it had to be some news. Hopefully, you know, I was always really hopeful. And I had been in communication with Jared, so I was feeling things were looking really positive. But that week after meeting, you're just literally on pins and needles waiting to hear what's going on. So, yeah, he called my cell phone.
And what did he say?
He said that he's really investigated this case and spoke to her warden, spoke to just everyone, and everyone had a unanimous, from the people that he reached out to, unanimous feeling of Alice, that she will live a great life and she will, that she has done her time, has been such a model person in prison. She's never had any, like, infractions on, you know, behavior or anything.
It's almost impossible in prison, by the way, so.
Yeah, I mean, and she became an ordained minister. She got so many degrees. She just, knowing that she's never going to get out, but she is still so amazing and is working on herself the whole time she's there. I think just he felt her heart, and he explained that to me. And I was just, I mean, when he said he has the papers in front of him and he's signing it, I just, like, my heart was so full.
So, you know, of course, no good deed goes unpunished. So you go in there, you get this victory. Some people are very skeptical,
Yeah.
all right? So they're like, I'm just going to throw them at you. You tell me who's right and who's wrong. Number one, this whole thing is just a PR stunt for you. You're a master media person, and you know how to get media attention, and this is just a way for you to get attention for yourself. True or false?
That's very false. I mean, I could literally walk outside and it'll be some ridiculous story.
You're not desperate for media attention? You don't have to do anything extra to get it?
No. I mean, I think these days I'm trying to dodge it and stay away from it. But, you know, I have kids, and why would I spend my time away from my kids to fly in and just for something for a PR stunt? To a lot of people was a risky move to take going. So if there was a possibility that it could have hurt my brand, I mean, I wouldn't take that kind of PR risk.
Gotcha. Number two, Trump is using you as a political pawn. So now you're sort of, you've endorsed him in a way. You've kind of given him legitimacy. You might be in a campaign video. He used you.
I think Kanye's already given him legitimacy, so I don't, you know, in that way. So I don't think I would be used, you know, and at the end of the day, he heard me out. We got the job done. So I don't think, like, what could he really use me for?
And when you say Kanye gave him legitimacy, what do you mean by that?
I mean, Kanye, you know, co-signed and said he loves his personality and loves him. And it was very, very separate. Like, you know, Kanye obviously knew what I was doing and knew that I was working on it ahead of time. But so that, yeah, when I hear that, and I've heard that, it doesn't really, like, faze me. I also saw people like, well, why don't you talk to him about this and about, you know, immigration and so many other things that I care about. But I just have to stay focused, and I have to know that if there's the only person in the world that could have done this for her, why wouldn't I go talk to that person if I had the opportunity to? Forget about my fears, forget about my life. That was the right thing to do. If I am the voice that goes in and tries to, I mean, there's over 3,000 people in the same exact situation as Alice, and it's not that, it just so happened to be that Alice was on my screen at that moment, at that time when I was on, but it doesn't mean that we're gonna stop here.
Well, Kim Kardashian West might surprise a lot of people with what she said there. And I want to bring in now Van Jones, host of CNN's Van Jones Show. He conducted that interview. Van, thank you so much for joining us and airing the interview here. Of course, the rest of it's going to run on your show this weekend. But, I got to be honest, she addressed head on, that combined with her husband's advocacy for the President Trump is pretty controversial to a lot of people and a lot of their fans. She spoke very openly about that. We've been tough on him, on this show, as have a lot of other people, and gave her credit for going and doing what she did. But she was quite open about it. She didn't shy away from it.
She didn't. One thing I think was important was that she also said, this is not over. After the interview was over, she said, listen, I'm going to keep fighting on this. Those other 3,000 people, I'm not done. And so it's interesting. She doesn't agree with the president. You've been tough on the president. Kim Kardashian has been tough on the president. She's quoted as saying that her daughter could run the country better. And yet, when it came down to a human life, she was willing to put that to one side and figure out a way to get Alice Johnson home. One more positive thing is Alice Johnson, of course, is a force of nature. Now that she's home, she's going to continue the fight. So some positive things have started to happen, some dominoes falling. I think you have to give Kim Kardashian some credit. When we have that kind of a platform, she's got 120 million Instagram followers, more than some, she got more Instagram followers than some countries got people. If she decides to make this a part of her life now, fighting for positive causes, I think you have to give her the credit for doing that. A lot of people with that platform aren't doing stuff like that. She is.
Yeah. Hold that, because I want to talk a little bit more about that. But, I mean, as you were saying that, it's interesting, when you say she's been tough on the president, but just because you're tough on someone, it doesn't mean that you don't want them to succeed. It doesn't mean that you hate them. It means that you're giving your objective criticism, which is what we're supposed to do as journalists and what citizens our right to do as citizens, Kim Kardashian as well. But I'm wondering if there is a lesson in this for the President of the United States to work with people who don't agree with him to do good things. It seems like there should be some sort of lesson for him here.
I think there should be and there could be. For whatever reason, this issue of criminal justice reform, prison reform, and pardons seems to have become a common ground issue, a bipartisan issue. It used to be a marginal issue. Now it seems to be the only issue that even a Pelosi and a Trump can sometimes agree on. And you have Jared Kushner in there, who's been doing a good job of pushing the issue forward. Of course, his father went to prison, so he has some sensitivity there. And then you have organizations out there like Cut 50, and you have young attorneys we talked about last night. You have these young attorneys out there like Brittany Barnett, Jessica Jackson Sloan, and others.
And they helped with this, right? They helped with this, because not to take away Kim's shine, but there were others who helped with this, including you. But I just want to ask you, because I want to get back to that. Would you encourage other celebrities, because this president has a thing for, he loves celebrity. Celebrity Apprentice, the host, other celebrities to work with this president, even if they don't agree with him, to get some things done in this country? Maybe that's the key. Who knows? I don't know.
For the people at the bottom, where you're talking about people who are locked up in prisons, people who are suffering in poverty, people who are addicted and can't get free, I think on those common ground issues, we have to come together to get something done. But just because we get something done on those issues doesn't mean we can't fight tooth and nail on 99 other issues. But I think we're talking about people who don't have a voice at all. I think on those issues, we've got to be able to come together and get something done.
Nice job, Van Jones. Nice job, Kim Kardashian. Give credit where credit is due. Let's hope that she continues to do it, and other celebrities as well. I misspoke. I said this Saturday. It's actually next Saturday, Van, that it airs. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. God bless you, and God bless America.